the storm issue in 2012, and then into the lull status, who will pay back the US dollar debt of the Republic of China, surfaced again last week in the US political arena. The US dollar debt of the former Republic of China in 1949, which involved more than 20,000 US citizens, was valued at $750 billion in 2012. Now the issue is reappearing, with an estimated value of $1.2 trillion to $2 trillion US dollars. According to the U.S. stock exchange regulations, the U.S. government has the right to claim the debt from China as long as the U.S. president signs off on it, but successive presidents have done as Taiji on this case. President Bush asked the Creditors Association to ask the Chinese embassy. The Chinese embassy said you should ask Taiwan. When Taiwan was governed by the KMT, Taiwan responded by saying that the Republic of China recognized its debts, but since it is unable to collect taxes from the mainland, therefore, the United States was invited to arrange for the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China to sit down and talk together. Of course, Beijing refuses to talk, otherwise it would have recognized the status of the Republic of China. Subsequently, under Article 63 of the Regulations on People's Relations between Taiwan and mainland China, which was passed under President Lee Teng-hui, it expressly states that such debts will not be dealt with until national reunification. Around 2012, 40 U.S. congressmen pressured President Obama to say that as long as you sign it via a pen, we will have an account of our constituents. But Mr. Obama is still playing Taiji, because China is America's biggest creditor, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said, "You'd better not offend your bankers." When an acquaintance of a former Nobel laureate of the United States visited, at a private dinner, after 6 cups of Matai wine, I asked him a sensitive question: is China not the largest creditor of the United States? How the United States will do? The Nobel laureate, who is proficient in international politics, glanced at me mysteriously and then said, "Do you think America is going to pay back the debts to China?" At that time, I regarded it as a joke. Under the international financial norms, the United States even wants to lay off its debts. There is no way. But the President of the United States at the time was Obama. Now the President of the United States is Trump. When last week's "who will pay back the US dollar debt of the Republic of China" surfaced again, my heart is startled. The old ginger is more spicy. Imagine, if Trump threatened to renounce and freeze the Chinese Communist Party officials in the United States' assets. Or coerce PRC must inherit all the debt of ROC, otherwise, it will be equivalent to PRC in violation of the One China principle. And it shall be regarded as the 3 communiques of China and you as invalid. How Beijing deal with that? This is not unprecedented. The American Stock Exchange has historically executed 47 similar international debts signed by the president, with the successor regime all inheriting the debt of the former regime, including communist countries such as Poland. Even China itself recognized part of the old treasury bonds of the ROC to the UK in the Hong Kong Return Agreement with the United Kingdom, and repaid British creditors in 1987. The Trump team is actually determined to contain China. Military is just a gesture. Trade, science and technology blockade, but also only pressure. Only the currency war, financial war to meet the standards of achievement. A big businessman, Donald Trump, will not fail to understand this. Although China has recently begun to release gold to renminbi rumor, but the global financial investment community know that the real value of the RMB is anchored in the US dollar foreign exchange reserves. Once China's dollar reserves shrink sharply, the value of the renminbi will drop terribly. China's current foreign exchange reserves are worth about $3.2 trillion, which is close to the red line of the economic operations. Not to mention one part of them which is $1.8 trillion of U.S. treasuries. In extreme cases, if the U.S. declares the provisional attachment of its treasury bonds in Chinese hands for the reasons described above, what would happen to the credit of the renminbi and its exchange rate to the world's major currencies? This is an unimaginable extreme scenario, but how about Trump's extreme approach to North Korea and Iran? Anyone who thinks that Trump is afraid to go to extremes is probably not watching the news correctly for a year. If this happens, it is not just a currency war, but a legitimate sovereign challenge to the People's Republic of China. Are you a normal country? Is it a sovereign state? Does the CCP not represent China? The Republic of China and Taiwan, ROC, Taiwan, or this country, whatever your name is, if this black swan flies, are you ready for countermeasures?